Hey, everybody. I have got a really fun episode. I am with Gillian McLeod. Now, I have admired her from afar for quite a long time, and today is the first day I get to speak with her in person. So I am psyched. She has had a most unusual career. She's been a stylist and she's been a model. You probably recognize her from any number of very big campaigns. I want to learn about this entire history because, like I said, I just get a kick out of her. I love her Instagram. I love when I walk down the street and see a poster and I'm like, ooh, there's that babe. Here she is. Say hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me.
Huh?
So, Gillian.
Gillian, yes.
Saying that right? Gillian. Okay. Gillian. Where'd you start on this illustrious career of yours?
The modeling career or the styling career? The modeling
Which
career.
came first?
Well, styling came first, but before that, I worked for a clothing designer. And then for a short period of time, I had a kids' clothing line. And I just needed to do something that was just a little bit more creative. And so I had never really heard of styling before, but I latched onto a couple of, key stylists. And I was an assistant for years and joined the union and then started getting my own jobs. And I didn't start modeling until I was 52.
Hold on. Before we go to the modeling, I want to talk to you about the styling because genuinely, when I've been on set, I really truly believe the stylists have the hardest job. You have to
I
ride there
agree.
the year. You have to bring so many things for everybody. All the people who say they're a size 4 and they show up as a size 7, or 8, or whatever it is. All the different variables. And then you're the last one there packing everything up.
Well, that's absolutely true. And, everything went a little bit more smoothly before iPhones. And once iPhones came around, you would get to set with the agreed upon looks or colors or whatever. And there'd be a creative standing there going, oh, but it comes in blue, or, well, we changed it because now they're going to be this. So so you had to be so flexible. And of course, there is that problem with people not being truthful about their sizes, or especially men. They love to give the sizes they were in high school. And then that's just not the case, So, but I really loved styling. I don't really buy too many clothes for me, but I loved looking for clothes and I loved the adventure of it. It was really like, it was just the search for that perfect thing that, you would bring to set. And then sometimes more of the straight clients wouldn't appreciate it or they wouldn't understand it. But I would try to, poke some interesting garments into, just a very boring bank ad. So I loved it. Just
How
loved
did
it.
you get that first break to go from, let's say, styling and working with companies to working on set for commercials or films or whatever else you've styled?
Well, actually, being an assistant, I thought that my goal was to get into movies and just do commercials and go that way because I wanted to be Edith Head or somebody like that. But it didn't work out that way because once you've been an assistant and you want to go out on your own, in the old days, you couldn't go after your key person's people. That was just the rule. You had to go find your own people. And the people that I found were in the print advertising, not commercial advertising. So I worked in the print world for 30 years and loved it. And, you start off small, you start doing favors for people. I've traded, for photographs that are in my house for photographers who didn't have the money to pay me. And then you just finally get in with either a producer or a good photographer. And then you're in that crew. And then, I've had several crews where I worked 15 years for the same photographer.
Wow.
And ad after ad after ad. And I've mentored so many young women who have gone on to have like really successful, fantastic careers. It's great.
And now, when you're working as a stylist, who hires you on that side of the job? Is it the photographer? Is it the company? How do you get brought into those jobs?
It's mostly production. And so if you're in with a couple of good producers, that's really your bread and butter. But also, as I said, I worked for this one photographer for about 15 years. And so it was just a given. Well, we're hiring her. She's part of the crew. And
Now,
every job could be your last job. You're only as good as your last job. If you mess it up or heaven forbid that you annoy the client, that would be a disaster. because then that's just an automatic, mark against you.
That's interesting you say that. I always say I wish everyone in the world could spend a day or two on a production set for a commercial or a print shoot, because you really learned dynamics of whose job is what, being cool, keeping things flowing, helping things move along, and not being that pain in the ass.
That's right. There's that saying, you have to stay in your lane, and you really do. Props does their job, the lighting guys do their job. I'm wardrobe, and my
Yeah.
crew has to talk to me. My crew is not supposed to, make suggestions to the photographer or the client or whatever, what they think that the people should be wearing. So it's all a cohesive little unit. But, we back each other up, which is part of the deal.
It's so funny when you mentioned sizing and men. One day, our son, who's, like this then, extreme skateboarder, was doing an ad for Tommy Hilfiger and they asked for his size. Well, of course, he's a streetwear kid and he likes his pants baggy so he can
Oh,
do all wild moves. So he says, Mom, I told them that I'd like a 34 jeans, but they're questioning it. I said, yes, deal, because you have to give them the size you wore for your tux for your junior prom, which was a
yeah.
29. I said, the stylist will know how to size you up or down based on what they want. He goes, well, I don't want them too fitted. I'm like, Steele.
It depends on the look. It's not your call. Yeah.
So funny. So you also mentioned a stylist union. I didn't know there was a stylist union.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a costumers union. The one that I was in for commercials was Local 705. And there are various other ones, to do film. And that's a different union. I can't remember the number because I wasn't in it, 8 something, but yeah.
Now, at some point, somebody was looking at you on set and said, we need to put her on the other side of the camera.
Well, before I actually got a portfolio, I was on a job where there was a lady of my age who had had so much work done to her face that they were actually not really able to get the emotions or whatever it was. It wasn't really moving. And after she left, they said, do you mind, we'll pay you, but do you mind stepping in? And so a quick hair and makeup. And then I took that lady's role, and that's what ended up being printed. And it was unfortunate for her, but it was the first taste that I'd ever had to look at somebody who had really done a lot of work. And so it was very curious to me. I'd never seen it before. And then I had a portfolio at around 51 and shopped it around a few agencies in LA. And I was really familiar with casting directors and agencies because of styling. I had not ever met anybody, but I had certainly emailed or talked on the phone. So I had an agency pretty fast, but it took a little while to get a job. There were lots of auditions before I ever booked my first job. And my first job was a SAG commercial as a grandmother at 52 with these kind of 14-year-old kids, which it was sort of curious. It was like, wow, I mean, I would have been 12 when I had the parents of these kids, but I really loved it. And it played and played and played. And because it was SAG, I got residuals and I thought, oh my God, my life has changed. This is how it's going to be. I'm going to be a millionaire. Well, so that was that job. And then,
Well,
a few.
it's so funny. Before you go further, you want to know what my first job was?
Yes.
I'm 56 years old and I'm on set. And you know how they often have the different pictures up on the wall of you?
Oh, yeah.
Or,
Like the mood boards and stuff.
yes, the
Yeah.
mood board. And I see it says 70-year-old chic woman. So I'm looking at it and I see my pictures, and down a couple of feet, I see there's this man who I had not met yet. And he's looking up at the wall and he's looking down and he's looking up. Then he's looking at me. And then he looks at me and he says, listen, you've been hired for the job already. You're here and we're about to shoot. I'm the photographer. He goes, are you really 76? But I am chic, so I'm keeping the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he
Yeah.
said, he goes, okay. He goes, good. He goes, because my wife's your age. He goes, I was really confused here for a minute.
Well, it's just funny how you get portrayed. I was at a casting the other day, and this kind of very busy guy comes out, and he says to the guy that's leading the casting, okay, we're ready for the old ladies now. And I'm like, excuse me? I mean, I just looked at him. It was like, dude, it's so rude. It just, he could have said next category or something like that. But the old ladies.
But
And
it's so funny.
I don't feel old. So it's weird to be called an old lady.
And you can be so mixed up. I mean, I've been the grandmother of 4-year-olds, and I've been the grandmother of 14 years old, and I was the grandmother of a 22-year-old at a wedding in sandals. I'm like, that is really funny. How old would I have had to have been? I'm doing the math in my head, saying, well, I guess this is possible,
Yeah.
or I'm going to be looking a lot older.
Well, you look fabulous. Yeah.
So do you.
Thank
I
you.
just, you did a bathing suit campaign, didn't
Well,
you?
that is what kind of between that SAG commercial where I thought I was going to be a millionaire and to 60, I had a few little jobs, print jobs, no more commercials. But then I did that H&M job it was, I mean, I remember everything about it. It was $250. It shot in Coldwater Canyon. Would I do it? And $50 goes to the agency. So it's $200. And I thought, well, I swim every day. I don't mind being in a bathing suit. So I went and did it. And so I tried on one suit and then I was going to go to hair and makeup because I hadn't done that yet. And the photographer said, oh, you don't need it. Let's go. And I don't know if they were in a hurry or what he thought. But so we shot the thing I didn't even have moisturizer on, like anywhere. So it's like, wow, I'm here. So I did it. And I never thought anything about it. And about 2 months later, I had just turned 60. I woke up and my phone was it was like blinking everywhere and there was buzzing and it kept calling and calling and calling. And it was every single magazine that you have ever heard of. And it was NBC, ABC, People Magazine, Time Magazine, Vogue Italia, Vogue. Everybody wanted to know what it was like to be an old lady in a swimsuit with no hair and makeup. And so then it started.
Tell us, what was that like? Because I remember that so vividly. And I remember looking at it, and in that split second, I said, this cool.
Well, I had never seen somebody my age in an ad. And I
Exactly.
had certainly never seen anybody my age in an ad that didn't have any hair and makeup. So
and you look great. Like it's a very vivid picture to me.
Yeah, people bring it up all the time. People know that picture. And it was so interesting being interviewed about, they didn't really want to know so much about me. It was all about what did it feel like to be without hair and makeup. So it's like, but it's been my look since I was 40, just a tiny little bit of like a tinted moisturizer, red lipstick. But today you got me right out of the pool. So I'm like literally right out of the pool with nothing. But
And fabulous. So what was it like? Did you have a particular thought when all of a sudden you saw these pictures everywhere? And you're like, wow.
It was sort of mind blowing. And I remember one of the first things that I thought was, I wish that my parents were still alive because my mother especially, she was such a fashionista, she always wore beautiful clothes. And I just thought she would really like this. And, of course, my son, he called me, he was my first phone call of the day. And he said, Mom, whatever you do, don't read the comments. Some of them were so nasty. I couldn't believe it. I just thought, wow, people have absolutely nothing to do except sit in front of a computer and type mean things. But one thing that happened that day that was fabulous, there was a little interview that went with that. And there was a mention that I had grown up some of my life in Indonesia. And so an Indonesian publication posted something and it got 47,000 likes. And I just thought, wow, they sort of adopted me as, like part of the culture just for a few weeks. It was, I don't know, I loved it.
I loved it. And
Yeah.
now, roughly how many years ago was that? Because it really sets
I
your
just turned 70. So it's exactly 10 years.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did that moment in your life, how did it change you? How did it change your trajectory and your
Well,
take on modeling going forward?
Well, it certainly gave me a lot of confidence. Any sort of fears I ever had, because styling is different. Behind camera is very different from on camera. And so I think that it just made me not I, I hate to say I don't care, but you just let go of everything. And one thing that I did discover was that you're either right on the day or you're not. And that's just the end of the story. So I'm about to go to a callback today for a huge company, and I'm very excited about it. This is what I wore, for the first audition. But the great thing about going to callbacks, it's a smaller group, and you were asked to be there. They want to see you one more time, and so that H&M thing gave me just a great deal of confidence about trying everything, because that's the great thing about going to auditions and booking jobs is you can either be yourself or you can be this other personality. And
Mhm.
and it's fun trying to be the other personalities because you never know who that's going to be.
Yeah, it's so funny. Probably one of the reasons that ad, besides it was just so iconic. I remember the first time showing up for, I think it was not think, it was Rachel Comey.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's great.
And I walk in, and Travis Weaver was the stylist, and he's having me test out all these different clothes. And he's like, okay, just go put that on. I'm like, well, I didn't go to hair and makeup yet. And he goes, we're not going to do that today. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So
And
that
how did you feel with that?
it was shocking. I had never modeled till I was 56. It was an unexpected event in my life. And, I had one of my first big campaigns was actually Lancome.
Oh,
And
wow.
in Paris, and that was how it all started. And they put me in this tight leather skirt. They had me in this silk blouse. They had this great makeup on, very natural. My hair was done. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm a superstar. This is how it's
Oh,
going to
yeah, you are.
sexy in all these ads. No, this was like Diane woke up, put on a really cool outfit, but there she is. So it was a surprise, but I still look back on those pictures because there were no touch ups. And used an interesting word, liberating. And I've never been I've never done an injection or plastic surgery, and I never will, probably just because I'm so afraid. I spent a lifetime in biotechnology, and I'm afraid of what can happen. I'm afraid of anesthesia. I'm afraid of side effects of things. So that'll keep my face, whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
but
it's an interesting, liberating feeling. But as you know, especially as a stylist who's done this, professionally your whole life, and I know like this much. I know what you know in your pinky. I mean, this is how much I know. You've got your whole body immersed in this industry,
yeah.
but every single picture you look at, you have no idea where the campaign's going until you see the pictures.
Yes, but I don't know about you, but I don't watch the monitor when they're shooting and I don't watch the end of it either because I feel you have to trust the client and the photographer that they are going to choose the picture that best suits whatever it
Them.
is, the campaign, them that they like. And so I never look. And it was funny. Last year I was shooting something for a big makeup store, and I was shooting with a young girl, and she said to me, she said, if you looked at the monitor more, you'd be a better model. I was just like, oh my God. And that came on the heels of the job before where this other young girl told me I needed to work out more. And I just thought,
Are you kidding me?
that
Don't
everybody's
you
so,
just want to say when you're my age and you're still around, honey, talk to me.
well, I was kind of looking at her like, I swim every day. Like, what are you talking about? I do the best that I can. Anyway,
And you're
it's
doing
fun.
pretty fabulously. I mean,
Well,
some of your campaigns, I mean, when there's one, my gosh, I wanted to blow up the picture because I'm like, this would make a really cool picture in an apartment. It's you with your hair like coiffed, and I don't even know
oh,
how they did that hair and the
it was
lipstick. It
wild.
looked
It took
like a young
hours.
man or two.
Was that for Violette?
Could
I
have
think
been.
it was for Violette, and we shot that at the Chelsea where my hair is rolled up into a
Yes.
thing. Yes, oh my God, that was such a fun campaign. There's another picture from that group where I'm just sort of lounging back in bed, but I have like a hyaluronic face mask on. And oh my God, it was great. So great.
Yeah, it's
She had
so
make
funny.
my favorite lipsticks, Violette. Yeah, fabulous.
It is so funny to see the end result. A while ago, I did about a year ago, somebody last minute. This was hilarious. I get a call from somebody and they're like, "Are you free on Thursday?" I'm like, "Well, I actually happen to be." And they're like, "Well, it was written out, so it had the dollar sign and it said like ASAP." And so I take this and I send it to my kids and I say,
Who is this?
"Who is this? And should I do this or this be really bad for my crisis management
My
career?"
God.
And my kids are like, "Are you kidding, Mom? Can I go?" So I figure,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do this. Well, the funny thing is, I'm not supposed to call him ASAP. It's ASAP, ASAP Rocky. So mom learns. But I do the campaign and it's with Puma. It was the most unbelievable thing. And when I look at it at the end, the finished commercial, when they send it to me, I sent it to relatives. I sent it to friends who have known me my entire life. And they're like, "Why'd you send this?" Hair so fiercely pulled back and bright red lipstick on and these huge black glasses. And I'm chewing lime green gum with bright red lipstick. And
Oh
it's
God, how fun.
hilarious to see the transformations.
Yeah, you please send it to me. I'd love to see that.
Oh,
Yeah,
you'll laugh, Gillian.
yeah. I
It's like
liked his
a proud
outfit
moment.
last night at Met Gala with his that Chanel dressing gowny thing. I thought he's a good-looking guy, and he just looked fabulous.
Yeah, he's a very good-looking guy,
Yeah,
who I also didn't recognize when I met him. Really? He looked even better in person,
yeah, yeah.
but it's so funny. When you now in your days, how I can't imagine what your week's like, especially in this world, because so many things book in very short time. I can't imagine what a calendar looks like for
Well,
you.
it's been strange this year, I've been on hold for a lot of things or first option or something, and then, you never hear anything. And, today I have a call back, which is fantastic, and I'm on a veil for something else. But I'm not sure where our industry is going, actually. So it's I really don't know the answer.
It
It's strange, and
it
I think AI and tech are going to have a lot to do with people. There was a model yesterday who showed an Instagram account that was using an AI version of her pretending to be her. And I thought, wow, because they can take anything from any image and just have, I mean, look at all the memes of our government from,
Yeah.
people in our government. It's so easy to do,
Well,
copy,
I had that
and it's
happen.
cheap.
Yep, it's cheap. One day, a bunch of my social media followers sent, "So excited, saw you on Apple News today." I'm like,
What?
"Exactly. What are you talking about?" It's clearly me in a Mustang I have never sat in my life.
Wow.
And, I contacted my attorney. I tried to track it down. And he's like,
There's almost nothing you can do, right?
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
That that's a scary thing. I know a woman who paints the most beautiful flowers. And one day she posted her painting and she posted her query to Grok saying, "Paint me a red amaryllis that has just bloomed." It is her painting. I'm like,
Wow.
wow, that's,
It really is.
when you see the stuff Mae Musk does where she takes herself and, all of a sudden she's walking through a crowd, but it was all just from one picture.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
I should have a look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Grok, you could take a picture of yourself and you can do it for 6 seconds. And then you can say, "Oh, I like this video. Make it 12 seconds or make it 30 seconds." And it will take Gillian walking across the lobby of wherever or doing an exercise or posing.
Wow, that's scary. No, thanks. Oh
It
gosh.
is.
Yeah.
Now, what does a day look like for you? Because you're still styling. You're
Not as much as before. I mean, a little bit. I mostly projects for people that I know. I think that, I don't know, most of my girls seem to be doing all of this styling. I don't know if I was aged out or what it is, but it's also the people that I used to work for all the time. They're all sort of my
they're
age now,
aged
and
out.
they certainly don't want to do production anymore because they were in it for years. And so
Yeah.
it's sort of like a natural sort of stopping, but I'm still interested in it if people ask me to do it. And I'd be more than happy to help old friends, sort stuff out. Yeah.
Of all your favorite campaigns or people you've shot with? What have been some of your favorite moments?
I did a little shoot for LA Magazine with Alan Rickman.
Mhm.
And I really liked meeting him. And he brought this. I didn't really have access to fabulous, like borrowed designer clothes at the time. And he fortunately bought this beautiful Margaret Howell suit, and that's what he wore. And then the photographer had him dance barefoot. And so the final image in the magazine was 4 pictures of him in various dance poses. And that stays with me because I liked Alan Rickman so much and he was such a good actor. A lot of the kind of more celebrity type people, I found the whole process difficult. I didn't like dealing with the publicists. I really didn't. And I preferred just doing straight advertising. I mean, maybe I could have had a better, like more prestigious career or something if I had dealt with celebrities, but I chose not to. So, but I had, I used to work on campaigns for Sprint for years and traveled all over and was always working in New York. And they treated us, our crews, always so well. And they were just great bunch of people. So many, I mean, there's so many great moments, And
Now,
there's also so many moments that were really not nice. So yeah, we won't
now,
go to the.
as a very recognizable model who I think has done some super really cool campaigns and created iconic images that certainly are alive in my mind. What would you say to someone who was thinking about starting modeling today? What do you think that you learned as a stylist, all the hours you have spent on set on both sides of the camera? What do you think the most important words of wisdom are to people who want to be on set in any capacity?
I think that, well, I think as a stylist, you obviously have to have some talent. But as a model, I think basically in this day and age, you have to be yourself because I mean, just look at the two of us, for instance. 10 years ago, there weren't models that looked like us. There
Mhm.
weren't. And then during COVID, everybody grew out their hair. They all started wearing big
Mm.
rim glasses, blah, blah. So that's why I went to white glasses. So I could because I can't see. So I think you have to be yourself, really. And I think that you have to bring your joy and personality to whatever job it is. And you also have to have a really nice set of portfolio pictures. You need a great headshot. You need to pay the money. You need to pay a good photographer to take some nice pictures. You don't have to have like tons and tons of makeup on. People want to see your skin. They want to see what you look like. Yeah. So portfolio, maybe even 10 pictures. You
Mm.
don't even need more than that just to get in the door because you're the one that's going to have to contact all of these agencies to go to. And if you wanted to be on camera as model, I would suggest that you have a print agent and that you have a commercial agent completely separate. And I have found I have a few print agencies, but I have a commercial agency that I really like a lot here in LA. And I mean, I think I self-tape or go out 5 times a week. I don't book them, but it's great to be called. It's great to be asked. It's great to practice whatever scenario it is at home. So
Exactly.
today I'm going to be a librarian.
You never know what role you'll be, and you might be in
I
a
don't know.
librarian, but just in a commercial.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny you said, 10 years ago when I was scouted by Wilhelmina when they were bringing back the older ladies. And I remember sitting with Ginny Conquest when one day my husband says to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I'm going to this meeting with Wilhelmina models." And he's like, "What?"
What?
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going. They might kick me right out, but I'm going to walk in my highest pair of shoes I own because I'm actually not that tall. And I'm going to go to this meeting." And I remember at the end when Ginny Conquest gave me the contract, she says, if you were 23, this wouldn't be happening, right?" And I said, "You don't need to tell me that." I said, "I'm very aware this wouldn't have been happening. I know I needed the wrinkles. I needed the gray hair. I needed the willingness to just laugh and walk through any door. That
Yep.
certain bit of losing your restraint."
I agree. I think that that's the best part of being older is, you just carry all of your wisdom but you also have so much personality, it's you. have so much personality, and I mean, it shines through. That's the thing, and so it's just sort of a confidence.
Yeah, that's what I see in your pictures, which is why I am so glad we were able to have this call. Because every time I've seen your pictures, I just said, "She's somebody I just really wanna know someday." I really wanna
So
talk.
next time I come to New York, we're going out.
Dates, date on me. Okay. I
That
have
sounds
been speaking with Gillian McLeod. She is just phenomenal. You are going to recognize her. If you didn't recognize her before, start looking around, look for billboards, look for posters, look in your magazines, look on TV, because you're going to say, wow, that's that cool lady. I know her from somewhere now. So
so
thank you so much
thank
for joining me.
thank you for having me. It was so lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Really cool. We're going to be moving over to the green room.
Okay.
Everybody, I'm Dian Griesel. This is the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast. Gillian's Instagram or anything else she gives me will be below this podcast so you can follow her, which I highly recommend you do. She takes some really awesome pictures and, is just
Yeah.
transformative in front of a camera. It's so much fun to watch. And she's a pro. She's been in the industry a very long time, knows both sides. So she's a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience. So thank you very much,
Thank
Gillian.
you.
Hit subscribe, everybody, and make sure you follow those links below. We are signing off. See you next time.